welcome back to my channel. Happy Wednesday. Today we are finally doing my tutorial, first impressions and thoughts and demo of the new Blue Blood palette. This is a palette that Jeffree Star Cosmetics just released recently. Literally sold out on the first day, as do all of his palettes, I feel like. And it's a very interesting palette, not something that I would normally gravitate for. So if you're looking at this video thinking, do I really need it? I'm typically a neutrals girl. I'm going to give you an opinion because normally I don't stray out of my box and I don't normally go for colors. So I thought this review might be helpful. I'll leave all the information linked down below where you can get the palette. I believe it's currently sold out, but I know that he tries to do restocks very often, so if you have your eye on it, I'm sure it's coming back soon. But if you're new, welcome to my channel. Before we get started, I would love for you to ring the bell, subscribe down below, and make sure you come back for all future videos. I post 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet. There will also be a tutorial at the end if you want to see how I got this look. But let's just dive into the good stuff. I'm sure you guys want to know, what's the palette like? Do I like it? And let's see swatches. So let's dive in. Okay, so when you very first get the palette, it's going to come in this beautiful, I think they call this a unicarton. I'm not very up to terms on like all the ins and outs of this, but this is like the packaging that it comes in. Very pretty. I feel like Jeffree always does an outstanding job when it comes to packaging. And then here's what the palette looks like. It's basically in a coffin like case, and it has a really nice like metal blue clasp on it. It's really heavy duty, like it's definitely heavy. It feels like great material. And then you open it up, you get this beautiful mirror and lots of blue eyeshadows. Again, I still can't believe that I got this eyeshadow palette because I never buy blues. So this palette retails for $52. And here is a close-up of the shades. You get some mattes and then also some shimmer. So a really good mix between the both. And another thing I feel pretty strongly about with this palette is it would be great even if you are a light skin tone. There are lots of colors in here, like these two right here on this side, the ones toward the end. They would be beautiful on like super light fair skin. So let's go into swatches and then I'm going to tell you guys my overall opinion. So the very first shade that we have is Cullinan, I believe is what it's pronounced like. It's basically like a white silvery shade, and I'm going to swatch each one of these individually. So here's what that shade looks like. I actually did put this on my brow bone today. I kind of wish I wouldn't have done that because it was like very silvery and I wasn't expecting that. So that is that shade. The next shade we have is Mint Tea, and Mint Tea is a beautiful mint green shade. I applied this kind of as like a shade to buff everything out just to make sure everything looked nice and blended and smooth. And it's so beautiful. So pretty. It reminds me of like Tiffany blue. The next shade we have is Crystal Flesh, and this is a very pretty like light gold champagne-y shade. Sorry, my arm's like itching. I have this actually on my lids for today and it is beautiful. One thing I really enjoyed about this eyeshadow right here, and I'm going to do one more swatch because I feel like it didn't go on very well, is that on the eyes, and you guys will see this at the end if you watch the tutorial, it applied so well. I didn't even really need to go back in or anything. I didn't put any like primer on my eyelid besides what I had on as a base, and it showed up really well and just so pigmented. The next shade we have is I'm Cold, and I did not actually use this today, but this is a really pretty baby blue shade. Okay, so there is I'm Cold. Next shade we have is Untouchable, and this is a really pretty like light baby pink shade, and I applied that right there on the hand so you can see. Very, very pigmented. And then last shade we have is Priceless, and Priceless is like a peachy shade, very light in color, but it's really great to just put all over the lid as a transition shade. And we will go ahead and swatch that. So here's a close-up, and this is the first row. So again, it can be used, I feel like, for a lot of different skin tones, and especially if you're fair, I think these shades would look absolutely gorgeous on you. And again, that was the first row, and let's move on to the second row. Lots of blues in this row. Well, duh. There's lots of blues in the whole palette. But anywho, okay, the first shade we have is called Power. And Power is a really pretty gray shade. It's just like the perfect gray. It's not like too warm or too cool. It looks like it could have a blue undertone in it. This is like the perfect gray I feel like to put on the walls, like a really dark gray. I love gray shades. So here's that. Next we have Blue Blood. And Blue Blood, I did actually put this all over the lid. It's kind of funny because even though it's like a really pretty blue shade, it kind of went on my eyes looking a little green. But when you swatch it on your hand, it definitely looks blue. So I don't know, maybe it was just like my skin tone. Next shade is Deceased. And Deceased definitely, it doesn't have a shimmer to it, but it does look like it could have like a sheen a little bit. Like it's not a flat matte by any means, but I keep looking down to like make sure I'm not blind or anything. I don't have my glasses on. But I did put this like in the outer corner and it was beautiful. And that is Deceased. Next we have Ice Tray. And Ice Tray, oh, it's so pretty. I honestly wish I would have used this. This one definitely is a shimmer shade and it's just such a pretty blue. This would be really pretty all over the lids as well. And that is Ice Tray. Let me know if y'all like it when I do individual swatches. Sometimes I'll do like a couple different shades at a time and just like swatch them all together. But if you like them when I do them individual, let me know. Next we have Blue Monday. Oh, Blue Monday was what I put in underneath my eyes, in my lower lash line. This color, you guys, oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. I don't even feel like this swatch does it justice because it packed onto the lid so good and there was literally zero fallout. Like I had my full face on doing this whole entire makeup look and I did not clean up underneath my eyes and I didn't put anything under them like to protect them from fallout. And this is what you're left with. Okay, last one is called Flourishing. This is the most stunning shade. Like I want to do a look with this every day. This is like my favorite shade in the entire palette. Oh my gosh, it is just gorgeous. And I feel like when I just swatch this like this, again, it does show you like more pigment where I first laid my hand down. But these shades are literally so good. They are so pigmented. So I feel like whenever I swatch this one, it doesn't even do justice to how amazing the shade is because it is awesome. Like let me swatch one more time. Blue Monday. Again, here it is to like, I mean, it is, blues I feel like are so hard to make, but here is a close-up of the second row. Again, I just want to say, I personally feel like none of this does justice to the performance of these shadows because we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but I think you already know I pretty much like them. We're at the point in the video where my hands are getting stained as well as my fingers, so I'm trying like extra hard to get the color off, but I just don't think it's going to come off. Last row, we have a very different mix of shades. You have some light tan shades, two pretty shimmers, and then two mattes. First shade is called Wealthy, and it has a big money bag on it. That is Wealthy. Make sure my hand's really dry. Y'all, I'm so tired that I literally just tried to swatch it with my ring finger, and there was nothing on the ring finger. There's that. I mean, it's like almost the same color as my skin. Next shade we have is Celebrity Skin, and it's just a very skin-like color. Ooh, it looks really pretty on though as a swatch. It's like a really just neutral brown. Okay, next we have Entitled, and I feel like I'm gonna love this. Oh, I mean, Jeffree started that. Look how beautiful. Let's do the last swatch right here. That is beautiful. And then we have Ocean Ice, which I feel like is going to be just as pretty. Ocean Ice. Gorgeous. I'm going to do one more just like pass over. So pretty. I mean, I hope that the light is like hitting it where you guys can see just how beautiful these are. Okay, last two. Cremated, which is like an army green. That is cremated. And lastly, we have Undertaker, which is like a dark navy blue. And there is the last row. Here we go. So beautiful. That is the last row. Well, let's talk pros and cons and everything you need to know about this palette. So I like to start with pros and start off on a positive note. Okay, as far as the pros go, oh my gosh, you are getting such a unique palette, like from the packaging. The overall quality obviously is amazing, but just so unique. Like I can honestly say I don't have a palette that has like any of these shades in them. I mean, it's so unique and so Jeffree Star. I feel like Jeffree always thinks like very far out of the box. And so this for me, I can say like most of these shades, pretty much all of them, I don't really have anything that is similar in my collection. Now again, I don't normally go for blue. So if you're like a blue fiend and you get a lot of blue palettes, you might have some. that are in here, but for me, these are very far out of my comfort zone, and I don't own any like this. So that's great. $52 is a little bit of a steeper price tag, but for me, you're getting a lot of eyeshadows. You're getting amazing eyeshadows at that. Very blendable, very pigmented, so easy to work with. I do have to say this, like I was a little bit skeptical or like nervous going into this tutorial because I'm like, oh my gosh, like blues. I'm not the best person at makeup. I mean, I love reviewing and I love doing like demos and giving you guys my thoughts on stuff, but I'm not like a top ranked like YouTuber makeup artist. I'm not Nikki Tutorials or anything like that. So for me, it is very important when I go in with an eyeshadow palette that it's easy to use. I don't want anything that I'm going to rub it across my eye and it's like patchy or streaky and I have to work extra hard. I want something that's easy, blendable. I don't have to do a lot of work with it for the most part, and it's still going to look good. And I do really think that my eyeshadow turned out great today because these eyeshadows are so good. And you do get a lot for $52. I know so many brands that have palettes just as expensive and you don't get near the quality or the amount of eyeshadows. So I love that. And again, you're getting such unique shades. I think the quality of this is fantastic. Now, on this con side, it is $52. So if this isn't a palette that you might not grab all the time, then that is definitely a con because that's a lot of money to spend on something that you may not use. Me personally, I wouldn't have thought when I got this palette at first that it would be something I would grab for a lot, but I really like the colors. I feel like I'm going to start doing more blues because of this. Another con is... well, really, I can't really think of that many cons. That's like that's crazy because, you know, a lot of times I would say, you know, this shade wasn't good or this shade wasn't good. But really, like the ones I used, I really liked. And I can always tell when I swatch eyeshadows. Like I've swatched enough and used enough eyeshadows in my lifetime that normally I can tell when I swatch something like by the pigmentation and just the feel of the eyeshadow if I'm going to like it. All of these seem really good. Again, this is like a first impression for me. But typically when I do a first impression, I've never had something that like completely changed my mind and I was like, oh, haha, just kidding. I hate that. Or, you know, the opposite, all of a sudden I love it. Normally my first impression is one that I typically stick with. So yeah, the only cons for me is really just going to be like the price and then the colors. And I mean, I guess if you don't want this packaging that's a little bit bulkier, that would be a con too. But I overall really like this palette. I'm so glad I got it. Let me know down below if you guys plan on picking it up, but I will get into the tutorial. If you guys like this like sequence in this video, like starting out and going ahead and telling you, hey, I like it. And then if you want to stick around to the end, you can. Let me know if you like that all down below. And I love you guys, and let's dive in. So here's what the box looks like. And then you open it up and here's the palette. It is a beautiful light blue shade. And it has like such cool detailing on it. You have like the little clasp that opens up. And shoot, I just made some big old scratches on it with my nails. Here are the colors. Oh, it's so beautiful. So we are going to dive in today and test it out. The first thing that I want to go in with is Priceless. Okay, first color we're going in with is Priceless. Okay, and I'm just going to put this all over the lid. It has a lot of pigment and I literally just picked up the smallest little bit, and already, again, it has a lot of pigment in it. And especially because the shade like in the pan looks so light. In person, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but in person, this is giving me a good amount of pigment on my lids. I'm still trying to get used to lash extensions. I go for my fill-in in like 2 days, so they're on like their last leg. There is that. I look extra glowy today. I'm not really sure what is going on. Gosh, I don't know what to go in with next. All these colors are literally so beautiful. Okay, just because I want to like kind of play around and experiment, I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is Blue Blood. It's a very light blue. And it honestly look, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of looking a little bit teal on the lids. I'm going to scoop my mirror up just a little bit. But yeah, it's looking almost a little bit like blue on the lids. And I picked, honestly, the worst brush to put this on with. I should have went in with something a little bit fluffier. Like when you first pack it on, it looks pretty like blue, like right here in this corner. But whenever I start blending it out, it almost looks like greenish. I'm going to grab a plain fluffy brush and just blend this stuff out. I don't have my normal brushes up here, so I would like normally not use that brush. So I just used it just for this though. It's so crazy because it does look like a light green. Do you guys see it? It's really pretty though. It's so funny because these are definitely colors I normally wouldn't use. Then we're going to go in with this green shade right here, Flourishing. And we are going to pack it on the edge. Now that is a beautiful green. So pretty. I'm just going back in and blending out. And that color really blends into that light blue nicely. It's almost just like a darker shade. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And I feel like, this palette will be really pretty in the summertime with these, especially these green shades. Like, I didn't think I could ever really like green that much as an eyeshadow, but like I really like this color. It's so beautiful. Still getting used to the lashes. Back and forth on here. I'm really just blending it out and up a little bit. Okay, next we're going to go in with Deceased, which is a really pretty blue shade right there. And what do we want to pack this on with? I'm trying to go for brushes that have darker hair on them, but I guess we're going to go back in with the same brush, but with Deceased, which is a darker blue. And I'm just going to put the blue only on the edge, so just kind of like that. Yes, just like that. I mean, for these colors to be as pigmented as they are, I'm honestly very pleasantly surprised that I do not have any fallout. Because trust me, if I had fallout, y'all would be able to see it everywhere. And there's no fallout. I can't believe how easy this all is to blend. Okay. Ooh, look at that. That's like a really pretty shade. I don't know what ones I want to do. Ooh, that's pretty too. I kind of want to do the Crystal Flesh one, which is like a light goldy shade right here. Now, this picked up a ton of pigment. I'm going to tap my brush. Oh, like, I don't even know what to say because I didn't even need anything on the brush, like no Fix Plus or anything. Gosh, this is a gorgeous shade. I mean, look at that. So at this point, I've only used 4 eyeshadows. So let's go in with Mint Tea right here and blend up the top just a little bit. Ooh, so beautiful. I feel like I'm officially into blue eyeshadows. Like, I like it. And I want to do more looks with blue because I think it's just so pretty and fun and bright. And then I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to try Cullinan as a brow bone highlight very lightly. Oh, I don't think there's such a thing as very lightly with Jeffree Star pigments. Not pigments, but shadows because they're pretty. I don't feel like I like that, but I'm just going to go with it because it's already... Oh my gosh. What did I do? It's already down. It's like icy. And then I'm just going to kind of blend in there. Maybe make it not so obvious. Okay, now let's do underneath. Just because I want to see what it looks like. I'm going to go in with Blue Monday. It's this like crazy bright blue shade. Wow, that's like pretty bright. And then, okay, then I'm going to go in with the Flourishing shade mixed in with Deceased for underneath. Such fun shades. And then I'm going to go in just a little bit more with Flourishing and Deceased kind of mixed. And just kind of brighten up that outer corner. I think this is such an out-of-the-box look for me. But I'm honestly living for it. Whoop, whoop. Okay, so there's that. And then let me put on a little bit of lower lash mascara. Okay, I'll be back. I always have something in my teeth. I think I had something in my teeth the whole time I was filming the tutorial. Okay, this is the finished look for the Blue Blood palette. I really like the way everything came out. I feel like, I don't know, I've never really wore blue before, and I don't feel like this looks picking up on camera the way it looks in person, but it's super duper vibrant, and I'm honestly very into it. So hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and as always, I love you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.